Hey everyone, my name is Sophie Wheeler and I'm an intern for the Office of Sustainability at CSUDH, and I'm going to be going through our coffee and tea workshop, which I collaborated with my fellow intern Kelly Hendergart. So, have you ever thought about if coffee is sustainable? Well, when thinking about sustainability, it is important to remember the triple bottom line: people, planet, and profit. To consider coffee sustainable, it must be grown, harvested, and consumed in a way that does the least harm to the planet, provides a living wage for the farmers who grow it, and ensures future generations can enjoy it the same way we do now. So first, let's talk about fair trade coffee. Fair trade coffee is coffee grown under fair trade standards, which help protect the environment and provide farmers with a minimum price so they are protected even if the price of coffee changes. Fair trade coffee beans can be traced back to the small scale farmers who grew it. And here are a few examples of fair trade coffee brands: Starbucks Coffee Company, Seattle's Best Coffee, Nespresso, Kirkland Coffee, Ethical Bean Coffee Company, and there's so much more. You can always ask your local coffee shop if their beans are fair trade, or you can keep an eye out for this fair trade logo, and that'll determine if the coffee you're looking at is fair trade. Next, we have shade-grown coffee. Research shows that shade-grown coffee is more sustainable than sun-grown coffee. Although sun-grown coffee produces a higher yield, shade-grown coffee has a bunch of other benefits: better soil protection, better erosion control, increased biodiversity, more carbon sequestration, natural pest control, and improved pollination. Shade-grown coffee is also known to taste better. The coffee beans mature slower in the shade, which helps enhance their flavor. And once again, you can just look out for the shade grown logo and you'll know if the beans you're looking at are grown under shade grown standards. Last, we have Rainforest Alliance certified coffee. Rainforest Alliance certified coffee is grown under strict environmental, economic, and social standards that were created to protect biodiversity, provide financial benefits to farmers, and support a culture of respect for workers and local communities. The Rainforest Alliance also advocates for decent living and working conditions for workers, gender equity so that men and women are treated and paid equally, and access to education for children in farm communities. So I love Rainforest Alliance certified coffee because they really focus on taking care of the people who grow the coffee and taking care of the whole community, which is awesome. And once again, you can look out for this Rainforest Alliance certified logo and you'll know that the coffee you're looking at is Rainforest Alliance certified. So, did you know that approximately 50 billion disposable coffee cups end up in US landfills each year? So, if you look to this diagram on the far right, you can see that this little thing down here is the Seattle Space Needle. And this is what it would look like if you stacked 50 billion paper coffee cups into a pyramid. That's pretty insane. This little diagram here also goes through some of the environmental impacts of a paper cup for coffee. Um, Takes about 20 million trees cut down to create enough coffee cups that we use in a year. Creates about 14 billion, over 14 billion of carbon emissions produced each year, and takes about 12 billion gallons of water. Insane. And did you know that most disposable coffee cups are not recyclable? You would think paper cup, but there is a thin layer of wax or plastic lining in the paper coffee cup that prevents it from getting soggy, which is why you've never had hot coffee in a paper cup and had a disaster. So, what can we do to combat this issue? There's a few tips. First one is make coffee at home. There are so many alternatives to disposable paper coffee filters that you can use, including metal, cloth, and hemp filters. So that way, if you invest in one of these, you don't have to buy or use a disposable paper filter every time, which creates so much waste. You can also avoid filters altogether by investing in a French press, which you see down here, which doesn't use a filter at all. And although they are convenient, unfortunately, Keurigs are very, very wasteful. If you think about it, you have to use one of those little plastic pods every time you make coffee, which turns out or equals tens of billions of plastic pods ending up in our landfills each year. Next, you can compost your coffee grounds, and there are many ways to repurpose them. Coffee grounds can be used as a fertilizer and a natural method of pest control. Coffee grounds can be used as a deodorizer for your fridge, kind of similar to baking soda. Coffee grounds make a great exfoliating hand or face scrub. You can try combining it with coconut oil and sugar or sea salt, and it's great for exfoliating. And coffee grounds are great for scrubbing and polishing dirty pots and pans. Once again, that exfoliating quality they have, great for scrubbing. So there's so many things you can do with your coffee grounds after you're done with them. And if you do choose to get your coffee outside of the home, bring your own cup. Many coffee shops, including Starbucks, offer a discount for reusable cups. And unfortunately, due to COVID-19, a lot of coffee shops have temporarily stopped this for health reasons, but normally it's not a problem and you do get a discount. So I just wanted to go over a quick, delicious coffee recipe that has been super trendy lately. We have the Dalgona or whipped coffee, and it's super easy to make. You just need 2 tablespoons of granulated sugar, 2 tablespoons of instant coffee, 2 tablespoons of cold water. Choose a milk of your choice. My personal favorite is almond milk, and ice. So you simply whisk together the sugar, coffee, and water in a bowl until the mixture becomes foamy and creamy. This can take a while and it might seem like it's not working, but just keep on whipping until you get that texture kind of like what you see in the picture here. And you do really want to make sure you use instant coffee. It does have to be instant coffee. Then you're just going to spoon your mixture over the ice and milk and enjoy. All right, let's shift gears a bit and start talking about tea. While tea bags are often mistaken as compostable, unfortunately, they are not. They are actually made up of 20 to 30% polypropylene plastic, or polypropylene, excuse me. What implications does this have for our health and the environment? One study showed that after steeping a traditional tea bag in 95 degrees Celsius water, which is about 203 degrees Fahrenheit, they were able to detect 11.6 billion microplastics and 3.1 billion nanoplastics. Microplastics, or plastics less than 5 millimeter in length, have the potential to cause behavioral and developmental problems in humans, and they are also extraordinarily harmful to wildlife. So although they seem compostable, and I thought for the longest time you could compost tea bags, they are not because of these microplastics. So unless you want to take the extra time to cut the tea bag open and just dump the loose tea leaves into the compost, you have to toss that into the landfill. Oops, excuse me. All right, so let me just give a little bit more background on what microplastics are and what they do. Microplastics have many different sources, from exfoliating beauty products to the synthetic fibers in our clothing. So we all know those face washes that have those little tiny beads in them. Those are microplastics. The largest source of microplastics in the environment actually come from washing our clothes. Many others come from the deterioration of larger plastics, which do not traditionally decompose, but do fracture into gradually smaller pieces over time. The plastics, many of which end up in the ocean, are often consumed by marine life. Once eaten, the microplastics give a false sense of fullness while being impossible to digest. Aside from possible behavioral and health issues, many fish simply starve. So you can see that even just from your little tea bag, what adverse effects the microplastics can have in the environment. So what can you do to help combat this? Loose leaf teas and reusable infusers. Loose leaf teas can be steeped in an infuser just like a traditional tea bag. So that's what this little metal ball and chain is over here. So you can opt to purchase loose leaf teas instead of the ones prepackaged in the tea bags, and then just put the loose leaves into this reusable infuser, and you never have to buy the little tea bags ever again. Herbal teas. Herbs can be dried and steeped in an infuser or often placed directly in warm water to create an herbal tea, which also avoids the use of the tea bag altogether. So in these next couple of slides, I'm going to go through a couple of tea recipes. Ooh, excuse me. So we have the Ganasdazi tea. Apologies if I'm mispronouncing that. This tea requires a 1/4 cup of red sassafras root, 1 quart of water, and a 1/4 cup of honey, or however much you need to taste. You just want to boil the ingredients for about 5 to 10 minutes to reach your desired strength and enjoy. Next, we have dandelion tea. So this will require 2 teaspoons of roasted dandelion roots and a 1.5 cups of water. You want to collect and rinse your dandelion roots. Be sure to only use the roots of plants that have not been treated with pesticides, because you definitely do not want to ingest pesticides. You're going to roast those roots for about 2 hours in an oven at 250 degrees Fahrenheit. And you want to flip about halfway in to just ensure even roasting on both sides of the roots. After they're finished, you want to chop the roots into 1/4-inch pieces and steep in water for about 20 minutes, and your dandelion tea is ready to drink. Next, we have pine needle tea. Who knew you can make tea out of pine needles? We have a 1/4 cup of pine needles, and you want to try to find younger, greener needles for a milder tea. A 1.5 cups of water and a slice of lemon, which is optional but enhances the flavor. So heat the water, but do not boil it. Wash your pine needles and place in the water. Cook until the needles sink to the bottom of the pot. Strain the needles out and serve with lemon and enjoy. And last, we have our lavender chamomile tea. This requires 1 teaspoon of lavender flowers, 1 teaspoon of chamomile flowers, and 1 cup of water. You're just going to boil your water and steep your combined flowers for about 20 minutes. The dried flowers like this take a little bit longer than if you were to buy like lavender tea over the shelf. But after 20 minutes, you should be ready to go and enjoy. And I do love mixing this with like almond milk or coconut milk or soy milk. It's so good. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any further questions or comments, you can contact the Sustainability Club at our email at csudhsustainability1@gmail.com or on our website, www.csudh.edu/sustainability. Thanks so much.